This podcast is hosted on podhome.fm, the most modern podcast hosting platform. Podhome offers unlimited episodes and podcasts, and unlimited use of Podhome AI, which generates transcripts, clips, chapters, title suggestions, show notes, and much more. And all of that for just $15.99 a month or $185 per year. That's a steal. So go to podhome.fm and start your 30-day trial now. And enjoy the show with Joe.
Transmitting live from the Asylum studios deep in the bowels of Southwest Texas, it's the Joe Rooz Show. The show where we talk about anything and everything. Where nothing is sacred, nothing is watered down, and nothing is PC.
Alrighty, hey folks, it is Monday, the 23rd of March, 2026. I am Joe Rooz, and it is great to be with you once again, transmitting live, of course, at the Asylum, and of course doing the very best we can to bring you the best quality talk radio we could muster without all the bluster. Welcome to the Joe Rooz Show. Guys, hope you had a fantastic weekend. I don't know if I did or not. I haven't figured that out yet. Somebody at work today asked me, so how was your weekend? What'd you do? I have no clue. I mean, I know I did a show on Sunday, but I don't know what happened Saturday. I don't drink. I don't do anything like that. But Saturday's a blur. I know I cooked. Oh my God, did I make a... Actually, I did cook Saturday. I cooked Sunday too. Sunday we made... It's Sunday. I'm Sicilian, so we made a sugo. We made homemade pasta. The royal we. Me and the dogs. And it worked out beautifully. The sauce came out so good. Like, oh my God, my grandmother would be so proud of me. It was good. It was really good. And then the homemade pasta was fantastic. I'm still, trying to remember how to do this the right way. So it's a little dense for me still, but I'm going to get it. Can't serve it to anybody yet until I get it right. But oh my God, the flavor, it was so good. And Saturday night, I had a beautiful, beautiful New York strip steak. Oh, perfectly medium rare, gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful piece of meat. Some roasted asparagus. Oh, just, I'm good. It's amazing. It's amazing I'm single. It's amazing I'm not married. It's amazing nobody wants to be with me. Look, I'll make my pitch. Look, I cook well. I probably cook better than most of you. All right. I clean my own house. I wash my own clothes. I wipe my own ass still. Every once in a while, I take a shower. I'm a catch. I don't know why anybody sees that, but it is what it is. Maybe it's my attitude. I don't know. I don't know why I'm going on this one, but I am. But at any rate, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Mine was obviously okay. I just don't really remember too much of it, but it was a great weekend, and I hope you guys got to spend some time with your family, your friends, and got to do some really neat stuff. A lot of fun. Hope you were able to catch the show on Sunday. Our Sunday Bible study show went really well. I trust that you were able to catch it. The only glitch that we had is for some odd reason at about 30 minutes into it, our stream went down. But we were able to upload the video and have that whole thing running, so we were able to get the show posted again. So I hope you were able to check it out. Please do that if you have not. We've been going through the book of Revelation. We're in chapter 5 on Sunday, and we're moving through it. Next week, chapter 6. We're getting our way through it. We've got a packed week ahead this week with guests just about every night. Yeah, every night this week. 5 nights straight of shows. Yeah. So tonight we're going to have a great conversation. I've actually been looking forward to this one for a while because. And it's interesting because one of the few guests that we book on the show that actually follows my social media stuff, and she's like a social media butterfly. Like every time I log in, I see something that she's posting somewhere. So I think that just intrigued me more than anything else. It's how does she have that much time to post all this stuff? And so we're looking forward to having her on here. But and what we're going to talk about tonight is, everybody says that they want to write a book, but almost nobody ever finishes one. I am one of those people. I have an outline sitting in my closet here that's been sitting there since when I retired from New York City, and it's just sitting there. I haven't done it yet. And I'm one of those people that turn those things that don't turn anything into anything worth anything, if you know what I mean. So tonight, though, we're going to talk to S.R. Fabrico, Stacy, we will call her, author, entrepreneur, someone who didn't start writing as a career but built it into one. And we're gonna get into actually what happens after you hit publish, after you send that manuscript out. What actually happens? And we're going to talk also about whether writing, can really make you money. I hear yes, I hear no from a lot of people we've had on the show, and we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about why people get stuck before they even get started, like me. All right? But of course, before we do that, we got some housekeeping stuff we're going to do really, really quickly here. Folks, please head over to our website, joerooz.com. And when you get over there, go to that little pancake up in the corner there and open up the contact form. And send me over a message. Let me know whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, any questions, comments, cares, concerns. Maybe you have a complaint. You shouldn't have any complaints, but maybe you do. We'll give it the just attention it deserves. Maybe you have a suggestion for a guest or a topic for the show. Let us know what you're thinking. And if you don't want to use the web form, totally fine with me. I don't have a preference, to be honest with you. I'd prefer you use the email anyway. Because if you're anything like me, you don't like the stupid CAPTCHA things. The CAPTCHA things drive me flipping crazy. So if you want to avoid that, just email me at info@joerooz.com. That's info@joerooz.com. Also, please don't forget this is a live show weeknights at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We have our every other Saturday show with our resident crypto psychic, Marissa Lee. And of course, that's at noon on Saturdays, every other Saturday. And then, of course, on Sunday, we have our Sunday Bible study show every Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Central Time. So plenty of things to catch up with us on, plenty of shows to watch. So please make use of it. Give us a follow. We're live on Rumble at rumble.com/joerooz. And if you're on YouTube, which I still don't understand why anybody's still on YouTube, but if you're on YouTube, we're at youtube.com/@joerooz. You can follow us there as well. I wouldn't advise it because we have 2 strikes already, and I'm not going to do the sensitivity training. So when 3rd strike comes, we'll be strictly here on Rumble, not YouTube. So come on over to Rumble. Beautiful place to be, Rumble. Free speech. No problems. Beautiful weather. 72 degrees all the time. Beautiful blue skies. White billowy clouds above. Come on over. All right. And also don't forget, please, like, subscribe, and share the show with your friends, your family, and your followers. That way you help to spread the love, spread the joy of the Joe Rooz Show. And especially if you really want to piss somebody off, share it with somebody directly. This way it messes up their algorithm. That's why I keep on popping up in it. So that's a good way you can do it too. All right. So let's play around with it, piss people off, have them follow the show, you follow the show, and we would really, really appreciate it. All right. Now, tonight's guest connection is brought to you by Podmatch. Most podcast hosts and guests spend hours researching connections, coordinating interviews, working on administrative tasks, while really only spending about 10% of their time on what really matters, and that's recording and producing and publishing real, impactful podcast episodes. What Podmatch does as this dating service for podcasters, Podmatch enables podcast guests and hosts to reclaim their time through automations and streamlined processes so that they can focus on creating content that genuinely serves their listeners. Now, if you want more information about it, just head over to podmatch.com/member/Joe, podmatch.com/member/Joe. That's the profile page for our show here. You can find out all the information you want to find out about this show and about Podmatch. You can even sign up through our page on Podmatch. And who knows? You never know. You might end up being a guest on our show, which would be great. We would love to have you. And plenty of things to talk about, right? Plenty. All right, so that's podmatch.com/member/Joe. That's podmatch.com/member/Joe. All right. Now, interesting. Very, very interesting because, where is it? Well, the joys of a live show, folks. The joys of my notes for the show have disappeared. Isn't that wonderful? So let's do this. Let's bring in our guest, Stacy Fabrico, or S.R. Fabrico, and maybe she will rescue us from this little kerfluffle that we're having here.
Uh-oh.
Stacy,
Hi.
hi. I'm looking over here, and all of a sudden, the whole section of your introduction is gone. It's not even here.
Okay. Fabulous.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? And now I'm looking through the rest of it to make sure this is actually you. Yes.
Okay. Is it me?
Right. Yes, it's
all
you.
right.
It's all you. It's all you. For
Fantastic. Well, I'm super excited to be here, and thank
you.
you so much for having me on. And I think this is only my second live podcast or recording or whatever I've ever done. I've done some live in-person things, but not this. So this will be new.
Well, don't worry about it. Our tens of our tens of viewers and listeners are anxiously waiting for
Great.
this conversation.
Great.
With
bated breath.
Yes, absolutely. It is, but it's great to have you here. It really, because we connected, I don't know how long ago on Podmatch. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And this finally came up, and I think I was telling you before the show that I was really excited to talk to you because, well, first of all, my producer is excited about this. She sent me the email that said, "Oh, she sounds like she's going to be so much fun."
I hope I live up to the expectation. I don't know. We'll see. I was cracking up in the wherever backstage area, and you called me a social media butterfly. I was dying. I actually dislike social media very much.
Oh, I hate social media.
I have people that do that for me. So that's how things pop up in your newsfeed.
Okay. I see how it works. All right. See, I have to get someone to do that for me. This way I don't have to look at social. I hate social media. I really do.
Yeah.
It is just like it's become like a sewer. It really has. There's a thing down here in Eagle Pass where I am, and it's I forget what it's called. It's in Spanish. I don't speak a lick of Spanish, but originally what the intention is for it to be like a marketplace, so people can post stuff that they're selling, personal properties and stuff like that. But what it's ended up becoming is just like a gossip page. And they just throw all kinds of nasty stuff about people in there, and I'm like,
that's like my neighborhood Facebook page. I feel like is very much the same way.
Kind of, yeah. That's kind of what it is, and so I'm kind of glad that I'm not really part of it. I don't want to be involved with that stuff.
We have an HOA in my neighborhood, and they're very strict on the rules and different things. And there was this whole big thing about people they wanted to put sheds in their yard, and that's not allowed. And so, I mean, for months, this whole like drama went on in the neighborhood Facebook page back and forth about the sheds. And it was like every night, get your popcorn and let's see what's going on tonight.
That's what when I lived back in New York, the first house that I ever owned was in one of those HOA run places. Mm-hmm. What a disaster. I swore up and down I would never, ever, ever do it again. It's impossible. You can't. I mean, just some of the most stupid, ridiculous rules. And there are some people that just take it so far. It's like ridiculous. I can't handle it. I can't.
Agree.
I can't. And I remember one time they asked me if I would sit on the board, and I was like, no, no, I don't want to be involved. Leave me alone.
Right.
I just want to, come home. I want to go in the backyard, have a barbecue. Somebody reported me because I put a pool in the backyard for my kids when they were young, and it was an inch and a half too close to the fence.
Oh my goodness.
And one of my wonderful neighbors called the buildings department, and they came
How
down.
did they even know it was an inch and a half too close to the fence?
Well,
stop.
That was the thing. They didn't know. It looked close to the fence. And so they called the buildings department. They sent somebody out. They actually took out a tape measure, measured the distance from the fence. They fined me $2,500 and ordered me to remove the pool.
That's insane.
Yeah.
We actually got turned in as well for a basketball hoop in our yard. We wanted to put a basketball hoop up for our kids, and our driveway is slanted. And so we had to put it, you're not allowed to put them on the road. So we put it in the grass. My husband dug out a hole, and we put it in the grass, but the hoop was over the road. So you could play in the street, and we live on a cul-de-sac, mind you. So it's not like we're in the middle of the road stopping traffic. Our entire cul-de-sac used to play on this basketball hoop, and we had to remove it. And I was very annoyed by that.
We could do a whole show on HOA stuff.
Seriously.
You should write a book.
I should write a book about that. Yeah.
There you go. All right, Stacy, before we get into the really serious stuff, I'm going to ask you a couple of icebreaker questions I ask every guest.
All right.
But they're different questions. I rotate them so that you are actually, I'd even rotate these through my usual filter.
Okay.
prior to the show. So you'll be the first to get these.
Okay.
All right. So question number 1, what's something you are stubbornly particular about?
Something I am stubbornly particular about: time.
Oh,
Like, I feel like it's important time is a valuable commodity for everyone, and you should be respectful. And so I get very annoyed. Like, I respect other people's time. I expect people to respect my time. I get very annoyed when that doesn't happen.
yeah, I would agree with you. I would, especially when you're hosting a live show and your guests don't show up.
Yeah.
I'm not bitter, by the way.
Right.
I'm just saying.
I'm sure that would be annoying.
Quite. You go through all this stuff, and I'm not going to get into it.
Well, and things happen. I respect that. People
course.
deserve grace, but I mean, it's got to be a pretty serious emergency if you're not letting somebody know that you're not coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you need to either be in the hospital in a coma,
Correct.
or in a casket in a funeral home.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, especially if any of my guests that never showed up or watching, which I highly doubt. But yeah, that's to you. All right, simple pleasure that people underestimate.
Goodness, a simple pleasure that people underestimate. Honestly, I think time with your family, just time, like chill time to spend time together, hang out, whatever, playing games, watching TV, going to the movies, whatever the case may be. I feel like we don't appreciate those things till later.
I could agree with that. I think I agree with that too. That's very important. There's a great Pink Floyd song. I don't know if you're a Floyd fan or not, but great Pink Floyd song from Dark Side of the Moon called "Time," and that's the whole song is about. It's just not realizing that time flies so fast. And I'm trying to think of the line right now. It's just flipped out of my head, but where it talks about when you're young, you feel like you have all the time in the world, and then before you know it, 10 years are gone, and
oh yeah.
You didn't. Nobody let you know that it was time to go.
My husband and I are celebrating our 26th wedding anniversary this summer, and
congratulations!
Thank you. We are constantly like, "Gosh, where did the time go?" We met in college, and we're like, we were so young and fun, and now we're old, and what is happening? And our children are about to leave the nest, and we're going to be empty nesters, and we're just like, how did we get here? We're so old and uncool now,
No, I don't think so. I think, well, at least the people that post for you don't make it look like you're uncool. So
very cool.
there you go. So who were you before the books?
Oh goodness, that's a trick question.
We're good for that.
How far back do you want me to go, Joe? How far are we talking?
Well, I mean, if you want to pull out the couch, you can kick back, and I can pretend to take notes.
Right?
It's up to you.
So
tell me about your mother.
I started out as a high school math teacher. I got my degree in math. And
why does that not surprise me?
I don't know, but
you definitely exude math teacher.
Do I really?
Yes. Now that you mention it, I knew education had to be in there somewhere. So,
well, I started off out of my college. I got a degree in math and a minor in secondary education. I started teaching high school mathematics, and I learned very quickly that was not that I loved kids and I loved teaching, but being in the school system, wasn't where I was going to want to be for the rest of my life. So I partnered with a company called Premier Athletics, and I started an all-star cheerleading and dance facility in North Carolina, where I lived at the time. And fast forward, I'm part owner in that company now, and basically manage youth, help all of our different facilities run their programs in their facilities. Youth sports facility management essentially is what it boils down to. But then we also do some business consulting and have some summer camps and different things, all kinds of different things, but all within the youth sports industry. So I was a cheerleading and dance coach. We used to travel and do competitions. I did retire from that, but we used to go to the world championships. So I do have a world championship medal, dance whatever, feather in my cap, whatever you want to call it.
Really?
And
Okay.
yeah. So we're on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube if you're on YouTube.
I am. Well, unfortunately, I am still.
I know
But
you are.
I
know
will.
you are.
I will find you.
I'll send you some links after the show. How
Okay,
about that?
that'll work.
Anyway, so I used to coach cheerleading and dance, and we used to compete at the World Championships. And we did medal a few times and have a gold medal, which was pretty cool. That was a year that we competed internationally, obviously at the World Championships against tons of countries, and the top 3 teams that particular year were all United States teams, which was super cool. And so we were like excited to win, but all 3 US teams were celebrating with each other because we took, gold, silver, and bronze, which had never happened before, which was really cool. So that was kind of fun.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. And then, so I still do a lot of that. And then I wrote my first book in 2018 and got into writing. So yeah, that's the short version of all the things.
All right, so what made you sit down and write a book?
So my first book, I didn't actually have any intention of writing. As I mentioned, I'm a math major and my degree is in math. I actually despised writing and didn't really enjoy it very much at all. I didn't even really like to read as a young person. But I did start reading a lot in my mid-20s, I guess. And, I had a story that I wanted to share with my husband. And so I actually wrote my first book. I call it as a story, literally printed it out on the copy machine at work, 3-hole punched it, stuck it in a binder, put it in a box and stuck it under the Christmas tree for Christmas and was like, here, Merry Christmas. I wrote this story for you. It was 88 or 89,000 words. And I didn't have any intention on publishing it. It was for him. And then COVID happened a couple of years later and I had some more time on my hands. And I'm like, you know what? I did all this work. Let me see what I can do with this thing. So polished it up, had a lot of edits, actually had a lady, another author who wrote a similar type of book. I connected with me on social media and she agreed to read my book. I was so excited, like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get this feedback. And she basically was like, honey, I have to tell you, like, I love the story, but this book is not ready. I can't let you publish this. Like, I don't know you, but you can't publish this book. And I was mortified.
Is that really what she sounded like?
Yes. No, she didn't sound like that, but I thought it would be funnier if I said it that way.
Like
so
one of
anyway,
those Boca Raton,
No, she did not. She did not sound like that. She was actually she was great. She was very sweet. She's a Northerner like we are too, actually, hence the directness. And so, but I was super grateful for that because I learned a lot about what I didn't know, which was a whole lot of things I didn't know. I thought, here, I wrote this story. It's really cool. It's awesome. Let me publish it. You know what I mean? And I realized very quickly that there was just a whole lot more to it than that. And I got the help that I needed. And I actually feel like, it was a really good product once it was officially ready. And once I published that book, I really, I fell in love with it. My first book was a fiction based on a true story. So I fell in love with the process and I was like, man, I really want to do this. And I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could actually write like a real true fictional story that was not based on anything, true. And I did. And then I did it through, 2 more times after that. And so I wrote a full trilogy because 1 wasn't enough. Let's do 3 more,
Sure,
so right. And so, yeah, it was really cool and great and fun. And I did prove to myself that I could write a fun, fictional story that people would actually read and enjoy. And it was pretty cool. And I kind of fell in love with it. And I feel like I decided, I didn't realize this at the time, but rewinding back to the dance coaching. So my routines were very story based. And, we didn't just like you as an audience member watching it, you may not know the storyline, but you can tell that there's like, if you listen to the music and you watch the dancing, there's like something going on and it's very captivating, kind of draws you in. And so that was always my thing. And the dancers on the team knew the story, and that's what they would be kind of dancing as they went along. Anyway, so the point is I was very creative. I think I'm kind of one of those people, I think, that probably uses both sides of my brain maybe. And so I was very creative and really enjoyed that aspect. And when I I retired from coaching in 2018, which is when I wrote that story for my husband. And I feel like writing kind of took over that creative void that I was missing, that I didn't even realize until in hindsight. I was like, oh, maybe that's why I am doing this now, because I'm not doing that anymore and I miss it. I needed that creative outlet. So yeah.
Well, two things. One, an observation, then I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
The observation is, you can tell that you are from the Northeast. Do you know how you could tell?
How can you tell?
You speak very fast.
I'm sorry.
No. It's great. I appreciate that, because I do that too. And that's one of the issues that I have down here. People move a lot slower. So it's
yes.
Like, they don't expect the rapid fire with that until they
Sadly,
start.
Joe, I have to say, I think I talk slower now, believe it or not, because I've been in the South for almost 30 years. So I was even faster before.
It happens. I find myself slowing down too sometimes, but
yeah.
Then I call my sister, who still lives in New York, and she reminds me of my heritage, and I come back to it. But so the first book that you published, like you said, it was the book that you wrote for your husband, right?
Yes.
And so how much of that story were you nervous to put out publicly? Because it was a personal story, correct?
Yes. So it was extremely nerve-wracking and very nervous. It's funny because the question that I see at the top of my screen is what really happens after you publish a book. And I chuckle because I'm like, well, and then you said it in the intro about like, once you press submit on the button, I'm like, terror, sheer terror. That's what happens. And I thought that it would only be because my first book was personal, but honestly, I was just as terrified on the second book and the third book and the fourth book, because people are going to judge what you've done, And so, I mean, that's ultimately, I'm not saying that's why you're doing it by any means, but that's what is going to happen, right? People are going to read it. They're going to either enjoy it or they're not. They're going to judge it essentially. And so, yes, the first one was extremely nerve-wracking. And I remember just kind of setting my date and this is what I'm doing and putting my head down and like, come hell or high water, like this is what's happening. And I remember at midnight when the like notification, because my husband pre-ordered it on his Kindle because we wanted to just like have it. I mean, we had plenty of copies, like I have copies right here. It wasn't, but it was just part of the whole experience, right? And at midnight, like his phone pinged with a notification that like the book was available in his Kindle library or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, like we can't undo what's been done now. This is it. Like it's done.
You can't unscramble the egg. It's done.
No,
it's
you cannot.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was great.
I guess in a way too, like I've never published a book or anything like that. I used to write a lot. I used to write a lot of prose, poem, poetry. And then I wrote I have an outline for a book of, it's kind of like a satirical memoir of my time working in New York City. It's called Why I Wake Up Screaming My Years Working for New York City. And each chapter, and the way I have it outlined, is each chapter is a specific point in my career over the 20 plus years, and about individual people that came across my career. That's awesome. So like I said, it's still sitting in there. What I did is when I came up with the idea for the outline, I mailed it to myself. I put it in an envelope, sealed it, because I got the stamp on it, so nobody can steal my stuff. So I know I gave you the title, all that stuff. I got it postmarked. I know when I came up with it. So it's all sitting there. I never published anything like that, but when it comes to my experiences in podcasting and doing shows like this, I know from my experience that first show that you publish, whether it's recorded or whether you go live, man, it is such a nerve-wracking feeling. I mean, I still get nervous when I started doing a show, because I know myself. I may have bullet points. I may have some outline here that I'm following, but I go off script very, 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 very quick.
Sure.
And quite frequently. And much to the chagrin of my producer, who spends a lot of time helping me put my notes together, he gets very upset when I go off script. But
that's okay. That's the whole fun of it, right?
Yes, I mean, absolutely.
The script is just, it's a loose outline. It's a guide. It's not intended to be exact. So
of course not. Never.
Yeah.
Never. It loses its spontaneity when it's
100%.
And then you start sounding like NPR. So can you tell me about the time that you See, only somebody from the Northeast really knows what NPR is.
I'm cracking up.
Oh my gosh! All right, so in comparison to what your life was like before you started writing, what does your life look like now?
I mean, honestly, I would, I don't know. I mean, the answer that is kind of boring. It's really, I would say somewhat the same. I'm definitely more active on social media because I have to be, not because I want to be,
Well, your
while
people are active on social media.
while I do have someone that kind of puts all the stuff out there for me, I still have to go and check it every day. And, I try to respond and interact and that kind of thing. I, so, I mean, I think that's one thing. I feel like more people definitely recognize me or know my face, but I wouldn't say that's anything like super crazy. One of the things my husband and I do enjoy doing together, which obviously we didn't do before I wrote books, was going to book fairs, and we do like author signings and different things like that. And he comes to everyone and helps me set up and sits there with me all day. And so I don't have to do it by myself. And that's pretty cool and a lot of fun. And that's just like a fun, we don't do a whole lot of them, but a couple times a year we'll go do that. And we just have a good time, like hanging out together. And when they're local, when they're local, my kids will stop by. Mostly my daughter, not my son so much, but he'll come if we drag him. And then, so I mean, nothing like crazy earth shattering. I wish I had something more glamorous to tell you, but
no, that's fine.
It's
just letting the audience learn who you are. That's all.
I mean, to my kids and my husband and the people that know me, my friends and my family, like everyday life, it's like no big deal. It's like I'm still just the same old Stacy. I've just written a few books.
Well, you're special.
Yeah,
you're special. So this is kind of like a direct question. So because literally there are millions of authors out there.
Sure.
I mean, millions. I mean, every day. I mean, how many books get published every day?
Right. A ton.
Yeah, exactly.
Many.
So why should people actually listen to your advice?
I think that probably people should listen to well, first of all, I mean, you don't have to listen to my advice, listen to the advice that speaks to you, that you think is going to help you get, better. But I don't feel like I'm the kind of, anybody that knows me knows I don't really like to do anything halfway. So I've learned a lot. I've intentionally learned a lot. I feel like I have, I've made a lot of mistakes in life, in business, and have also been successful. And so, I think I have some good advice through all of those lessons that I've learned. But if it doesn't speak to you, then don't listen to it. That's okay too. It's not going to hurt my feelings.
Fair enough. So, what do you think is the biggest lie that new authors believe about publishing a book?
That they're going to sell 1 million copies.
I've asked that question to other authors, and very, very similar responses to that.
Yeah.
Very similar.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with being hopeful that's what, like that you're going to sell a ton. Like there's nothing wrong with being hopeful, but the reality is the average self-published author sells 200 to 300 books of a particular book in their lifetime. That's the average. And then even the average, what is most astonishing that people don't even realize is the average traditionally published author sells about 2,000 books in their lifetime. And people think about the Nora Roberts and the J.K. Rowlings and, the Dan Browns and whatever, but those are the 0.001%. Like you said, right. There's millions of other, many millions of authors out there, and several million books. And so right. The averages are what they are, but you can, beat the averages. And I always tell authors too, like, know who you are and what you want to be. Like some people just want to publish a book for the sake of publishing a book, or they want to have it bound for their family for later. And that's all they care about. Then that's cool. That's great. And you don't need to know about marketing. You don't need to market your book. You don't need to even really worry about the cover or how much it's edited or whatever the case may be. If that's your goal, and there is nothing wrong with that, go do you, know what I mean? That's fine. But right. If you want to be successful and you want to try to sell as many copies as you can, then there's a whole nother process that you need to go through. And there's neither way is right or wrong. It's just what you want to do as an author, what you are striving to accomplish, Yeah,
I agree with you. And writers and authors like a J.K. Rowling, they didn't start off selling 1 million copies of a book.
No.
I am quite sure that the early years, those first books published didn't really sell much to begin with. I guess the key is just to be persistent with it and consistent. Persistent
100%.
and consistent.
Well, and that's the key with anything, really. I mean, most people who are successful not necessarily because they're any better than, I mean, in some cases, sure, but most of the time it's not because they're necessarily any better than some folks. It's because they persisted longer than everybody else. Most people quit before they actually like find that success. And I think it comes from my mathematical background, but I'm all about like data and figures and understanding. And so of course I have researched all of these things that you're talking about because that's my personality, because I'm just kind of that way. And I think it's like 10 years is generally how long, it takes for an author to be discovered. If they're just kind of out there writing, and
and that's being consistent. That's like publishing something new every so often, right?
Yep.
So 10 years, wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. Now again, that doesn't mean it can't happen to somebody in one, and it doesn't.
Oh no, of course,
can't take somebody else 20, but the average is 10 years.
Yeah, but I'm saying playing the averages. That's a long time. But the thing is, though, I think that if you really love what you're doing, if you really enjoy the process of writing and publishing, it doesn't matter how long it takes. You're doing it for that moment that you love.
Agree.
So, and I'm glad you mentioned marketing, because you do talk about marketing quite a bit, and I don't think a lot of authors kind of miss it a little bit. What do most authors do that's completely wrong?
Yeah, I think, well, I'm not sure what most authors do that is completely wrong, but I think that it's a common misconception that, the book's just going to kind of sell itself. And you have to really have, like, that's just not going to be the case. It's like my son right now is getting ready to go to college and he wants to play soccer. And he's on board with this now and he's doing a great job. But in the beginning, I'm like, you have to reach out to the coaches and you have to do the work and you have to put together a video and get them to, and he's like, no, that's, initially he was like, no, they're just going to come find me. And I'm like, that's not how it works. That's, and so it's the same thing with the books. Like, you have to have a good plan. You have to have a good marketing strategy. I think that, and most authors, they're writers. That's what they do, is tell stories. They don't have a marketing background. And so they don't know what to do. I think oftentimes it is good to market wide in as many places as you possibly can. But if you're an author that has zero marketing experience, I think a lot, like, trying to go wide can be a failure because you don't have the resources and you don't exactly know how to do it all. So narrow your focus, pick one or two places and stick to that and get good at that and then expand, as opposed to trying to just like go big and go far. And then I also think this is just in general with marketing. It doesn't have to be books, but a week isn't enough. A month isn't enough. A year isn't enough. Like, it's ongoing forever and ever and ever. And if you want to stop selling books, then just stop marketing. If you want to keep selling books, then you need to keep marketing.
That's practical, solid advice. I mean, I deal with the same stuff with the podcast. I'll be honest with you, I am terrible at marketing stuff. This I can do.
Right.
when it comes to pitching the thing and doing it, it's another story altogether. I think time has a lot to do with it too. For most people, is that all you're working on? It's like I only have podcasting to reference, but I do have a 40-hour job. And it's hard to carve out time to spend in marketing and doing the social media things and doing the other stuff. I've been invited to be guests on other shows. I would love to. It's great for cross promotion and all that stuff.
No, it's funny that you say that, because I don't really market my first book a whole lot anymore. I market my trilogy more than anything. So it's called the Southport series, and Call Her Janie is the first book in the series. And that's where I put most of my effort into my marketing. But I kind of got busy with work and life and all
Yeah.
the things. I wasn't really promoting my books that much anymore either. Just in general, like wasn't doing all the normal things. And podcasting is one of the things that in the last several months, I'm like, okay, this is a good, like I can go do this and I can get on podcasts and I can talk about writing and my books and just get out there and meet new people. And, and that's a way to promote and market your books. Maybe that's something that you like to do, then go do that to promote your books. If that's something that if it's not something that you like to do, there are a million different ways. But I just recently started doing, I did a whole bunch in the beginning and then I stopped. And I did a ton of Facebook marketing and I mean, just all kinds of things. And I dialed back a lot of it because I was busy and didn't have time to keep up with it anymore. Like you said, I mean, I would wake up every morning and check my Amazon ads and check my Facebook ads and first thing, and I'm like, I'm exhausted. I don't want to do that anymore. And I'm waiting for the day that it's all just going to magically go on its own. But
or you make enough money, you can hire somebody to do it all for you.
Right. I don't know that day's ever going to come, but I did decide that it was time to kind of start promoting my trilogy again and get little by little, so I ramped up my social media. So it actually makes me feel good that you noticed that. And then, I'm doing some podcasts. So not a ton, but like that's a little something more than I was doing, 6 months ago. So there you go.
And speak and talk about making money to pay for all these things and to help out and make things a little bit easier for you. Can someone realistically make a living writing books today, or is that just like fantasy?
No, I mean, I think it's possible, but I think you're going to need to have a lot of books. You're not going to make a living on a single book. And to be clear, I don't make my living from writing books either. It is still a hobby. I look at it as a retirement opportunity. So not that I'm that close to retirement, with my good skincare, but but it is nearing, and so I'm like, maybe it will be something that I can build up and have as an extra little fund, when I retire. And then what a great way to continue making money and doing something that I really enjoy, when I'm retired. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. If I could make a living on it between now and then, that would be amazing. Do I think it's possible? Sure. You have to have a lot of really great marketing and you're going to need to have a lot of books. Like one book isn't going to do it. Sure. I mean, I have 9 journals and 5 books, 4 fiction and 1 nonfiction books. And that's a lot of books. And I am still not, making a living. But I mean, it's a little something every month.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand how that is. I do. It's the same thing with this stuff,
Yeah.
Like I do generate some revenue from the show, but it's nothing that goes in my pocket for anything. It's everything that I get in, just believe it or not, just barely makes all the platform fees and all that stuff. That
yeah, and I do the same. I mean, I reinvest a lot. Every dollar that comes in for my books right now, I reinvest it into my books, whether that's editing or marketing or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So with your business background, what do authors misunderstand about treating writing like a business?
That it is a business. I think trying to set some goals, having a budget. I create a budget and keep up with my finances every month, and I can see I can see where I'm in the red, and that's super fun.
Yes.
But I think just tracking that information and keeping up with it. You don't have to necessarily, start an LLC, but I did just because. And so, I do all the same business practices for my actual businesses. I apply to my to my books. But again, I think that it depends on what kind of author you want to be. If you don't want to if you're not trying to make it a career or make it something, bigger, then you don't need to worry about all that. Just write and have fun and call it a day. You know what I mean? But if you do want to make it something more, then yes, you should treat it like a business. You should have a website. You should have, social media. Have a good plan. And again, know that your marketing, it starts several months before the book, as far in advance before the book is out as possible and continues forever, as long as you want to keep selling the book. And like I said, I don't promote my first book very often, but I promote my trilogy, which then in turn promotes my first book because people find me and they find my books and all the things, you know what I mean? So you don't have to necessarily promote every single book all the time, but you have to, always be marketing.
Marketing.
Yeah. Back to marketing.
bane of my existence.
If you don't tell the great story, then nobody's gonna,
True.
Meaning tell the story like out to the world, not the story in the book.
Yeah, no, I knew what you meant. Yeah,
Yes.
that's very true. And it's the same principle with podcasts too. You want to put the best thing out there to get the attention, so people actually, oh, that's interesting. Let me go see what the rest of the stuff is all about. Then they'll get disappointed and not come back.
And I get it, because it's like you got to have time to write, you got to have time to edit, you got to have time to publish, you got to have time to market, you got to have it's the same thing with podcasting. Like make a podcast plan and prepare and be ready with all of your questions for your guests and have the time to do it. And then you're live, so I don't know how much editing there is, but like all the things, and then and then you have to market and promote it on top of that. Like, ew.
Part of the reason why I do it live is because I don't have time to sit there and edit.
That makes sense.
And and the other thing too is with the video stuff, I'm not strong in editing video. Like I can do audio blindfolded. I've been doing it for a long, long time. But when it comes to video stuff, I just don't have the skill for it, and or the patience. And so for me, it's just easy to do the live show. And there's other reasons too. I mean, that's not just the main reason. The other reasons are, like, for example, the energy is completely different when you're doing a live show compared to a recorded show.
Yeah. I
mean, it is completely different. Again, the NPR reference. You go to some of these recorded shows. Not that there's anything wrong with recording the show. I don't want anybody to misunderstand that. But you go to these recorded shows and they spend so much time on a little minutia. Like they edit. I know some people who edit out breathing sounds.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
I
don't. You're not offending. Our podcast, The Modus Edge, is recorded, and we don't do that. But I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, there are some people that do that. A lot of people don't, or any like just that moment.
Right.
They'll edit that out, and it sounds so mechanical when you actually go back and listen to it after it's all been edited. It doesn't sound. To me, it's not appealing. I'm not crazy about that.
Right.
If I ever do record a show, I would do it live to tape, as they would call it. I would record it live, as if it's being broadcast live, and just do it that way, and still not edit it. That's just my preference, the way I like to do it. But oh man, just look at the clock. So tell us about the Southport series. Let's get to your books a little bit.
So the Southport series is super fun. The first book is Call Her Janie. The main character, her name is Lizzie, and she is, ironically, works for a marketing firm in New York City called Gray Stone Marketing. And the owner of the marketing company is Gray Stone, and she ends up romantically involved with him. He's a billionaire and things are going well. Life is great. She is just loving life. And then she gets pregnant and he is not very happy about that. And so she ends up quitting her job there and moving to Southport, North Carolina to reconnect with her brother, who she's been in touch with, but hasn't seen in a really long time. And it's just this kind of tiny little beach town, on the coast of North Carolina, and she restarts her life there. So it's a romantic suspense. So there she meets a new love while she's in Southport. His name is Josh, and the story, kind of builds around their relationship. But her past from New York kind of comes to follow her in Southport. So I don't want to give it all away, but there's, when she goes to Southport, I'll just say this. When she goes to Southport, she is no longer pregnant, but she also doesn't have a child when she's there with her brother originally. So there are some things that happen, and, whatever, you're kind of learning what that story is, and it kind of catches back up with her. In Southport. And then the second book goes more into, Gray comes back and really kind of wants to, he feels like he made a mistake, and so we have a little love triangle thing going on. So that's kind of the love story, the romance part of it. And she does have a little girl now named Janie. So where did she come from? I don't know. You'll have to read the book, but she's kind of, my books are very character driven. So you really start to fall in love with the town and the people in the town. And a lot of the reviews and a lot of the people, I do a ton of book clubs, and I'll sit and talk with people, that have read the book or whatever. And I do them in person or virtually. And they'll always say how they just like, they feel like they could be best friends with these people in the book. And they get really attached to the characters.
Isn't that a great feeling when somebody says that to you? About
It
something
is.
you wrote and you created?
Yes, it is. It's really cool. I also too, just to keep it real, I have some 1 and 2 star reviews too, and some people that have said some not so great things about the book. But is it, are you really a published author if that's not really the case? I mean, good or bad, people are reading it and commenting, right? So,
exactly.
I mean, I hate that my book made you so angry that you felt like you needed to come on to some platform and say something that nasty, but hey, whatever.
I know how you feel.
Whatever floats your boat.
I got my first 1 star on Apple Podcasts recently.
Brutal.
And it crushed me for about an hour. I was so aggravated, and I'm not bitter at all. It just,
do you want to know my 1 star secret?
Sure.
So this is my 1 star secret. I used to in the very beginning, I would go check like, oh, did I have any new reviews today? And I would go and I would look and search and filter and read my new reviews. I don't do that as much anymore. Like every couple of months I'll go and look and see and poke around, and I'll see like, when I find a 1 star review, I'll click on it, and if it's just a star and no comment, whatever, no big deal. But if it's a star and it has a comment, I'll go to that and I'll read the comment. And let's say the person who, give me a name, any name. Bill. So let's say Bill is the person that left this 1 star review. So I'll read the review and I'll be like, you know what? F you, Bill. F you. And then I just go on about my day. Yeah, and that's the end of that.
Yeah. I kind of did the same thing, except I did it on the show.
Yeah.
I did it live.
Whatever.
But my 1 star review was, I don't even think the person actually listened to any of the shows, to be honest with you, because their comment wasn't about anything specific to a show or an episode that I did. It sounded like they read my show's profile
and then made a comment,
and then looked at like my topics of discussion and made it their judgment based on that, because their thing was somewhere in the profile it said. It mentioned Christian worldview. I don't see that in my profile, so I don't know. But that's what they said, and they said that I've interviewed people who don't meet their belief system and so on and so forth, and they do not recommend the show, and they gave me 1 star. I was like, okay, that's jerk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other
words came up. More colorful metaphors came off.
Well,
outside.
I didn't want to say all those things on your show, but yes.
But like when I went on the next show afterwards, I mentioned it, and I was like, look, I'm a Christian, okay, and I'm going to tell you that Christians are the most obnoxious people in the world.
It's kind of true.
It truly is. It truly is. Branch out a little bit. You're not going to go to hell by listening to somebody else's conversation and their point of view. It's not going to send you to hell. Right?
Agree.
So, please. But I'm not bitter.
No, not at all. Not at all. But the books are fun. They're fun. They've got a cool family vibe. Lizzie reconnects with her brother and her brother's wife, and she makes a really great friend that owns a local bookstore in town. Her name is Helen. And, the characters are great, and there's a good like family dynamic. And I think, as I was writing, I think small town, like, stories are kind of my jam. That's kind of what I'm good at. I think that's what I'm going to stick to. And, so it's pretty cool. And then Janie is the baby in the book. That's, call her Janie, keeping Janie. And then the last one is Janie's Hope. And that one is about Janie as she is grown up. She comes back and she's grown up and is in the town as well herself. So
it sounds really interesting.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
I would read it. Now, you also wrote a history of All-Star Cheer.
I did.
So I did. Why that?
So that was for my work life. So SR Fabrico is, and I published that book under SR Fabrico as well, because that is what I published my first book as. People ask me this all the time. It's not necessarily a pen name. Stacy Rowe is my name. That's what the SR stands for. Fabrico is my maiden name. When I published my first book, I published it under SR Fabrico because my mom passed away when I was 21 and her initials were SR Fabrico.
Oh.
And the intention of writing additional books, I thought that was going to be one and done. And so I did that kind of to honor her. And then I fell in love with writing. But at that point I had already had like a following, and that was my name, and I didn't want to change it. So anyway, the Pioneers of All-Star Cheer, which is the history and evolution of all-star cheerleading, was kind of something that I did for my work life. And so I did over 100 interviews with different entrepreneurs, gym owners, event producers, uniform, whatever, people that make uniforms, shoes, just anything having to do with the sport. I interviewed over 100 people to just get their story on what their perspective was, how they got into the sport, how they feel like all-star cheerleading was created specifically, and then their specific entrepreneurial story. So the beginning of that book is all the chronological history of all-star. And then there are individual chapters that tell not every person that I interviewed, but a good bit of the people that I interviewed, their entrepreneurial story and kind of how they got started. So cheerleading itself began in the late 1800s in College, Minnesota State, I believe, if I remember correctly from my book. And from there kind of evolved into high school and middle school, and then eventually into this like all-star thing, which is the part of the sport that I am in, and all the people that I interviewed, which is really kind of new. Like it just, started in the 80s. Is this little part of cheerleading. It's not the cheerleading that you see on the sidelines with pom-poms and megaphones that people are used to. It's a very competitive, high level, they do a lot of hard, difficult skills, and they're very competitive, and they practice a lot of hours a week and whatever. Anyway, so I did that because it didn't exist, and it was time to tell the story and let people know for the future generations just kind of how it came to be, and how all these people, what everybody did before them to make it all happen. So yeah, so that just came out. Yeah, it was funny because my business partners were the ones that kind of challenged me to do that, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's super easy. Let me just write a nonfiction book, because they're like, well, you're a writer, you should write this book, and I'm like, but they're two, like, nonfiction and fiction are two completely different things.
I'm sure.
Yeah, like it's just not that simple. But sure, we'll give it a whirl, and so we did. It was pretty awesome.
That's great. It's a great topic too. I never would have thought to write a book about that at all. That's probably the last thing I would think of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've never been a cheerleader, probably not. I think one of the really sad things. So Jeff Webb is one of the really, a lot of people call him kind of the father of modern day all-star cheerleading or modern day cheerleading. Mm-hmm. And he was a huge part of the book, and we did a gigantic book signing in Nashville, Tennessee. And all the people that were in the book came, and we had several people from the sport there. And just, anyway, he came and spoke, and he just passed away several days ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Actually, yeah. So it's pretty sad. Kind of rocked our cheerleading world unexpectedly in a pickleball accident. It was very bizarre.
Yeah, I read something about that.
You may have. It's been all over social media.
They said it was Charlie Kirk's
yes
mentor.
They were very good friends.
Yeah.
They were very good friends. So Turning Point USA, I think, shared the story. There's been a lot of people online sharing it and different things like that. It's not been on like the actual news, I don't think, but it's been all over social media. Anyway, it's been pretty sad.
Candace Owens is going to do a special on this and blame Erica Kirk for it. So
great.
So what are you working on now?
So I actually have taken a small break from writing, but I am trying to get myself motivated to start. My next book is 10,000 Steps is what it's called, which I typically title my books after I write them. But I know that this one's going to be titled 10,000 Steps. I already have a cover because I had planned on writing it after I finished my trilogy, but then the Pioneers of All-Star Cheer took it put 10,000 steps on pause, and then it kind of burned me out, if I'm being honest. And so I was like, I need to breathe for a second, and I'm trying to find my way. I'm trying to find my way back to telling this story. I also think I'm maybe not ready to tell the story yet. So 10,000 Steps is another fiction based on a true story.
Okay.
The main character will be you'll be learning all about her just experiences through life as she learned that she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and kind of what that did, to her and her family, and how all of that, just the process of, of that. I think a lot of people don't know what it is and how it impacts people and how it impacts their family. And so I think it's an important book to write. I was recently diagnosed in 2024. And so I think I was like wanted to write it, but then the All-Star book jumped in front of it. And now I think I'm having a hard time. Like I'm maybe even not quite ready to tell the story yet. I don't know.
It might be.
So I'm struggling, but that's my next book. And then I want to write another trilogy, another romantic, suspense women's fiction type of trilogy about Bald Head Island. I have a cool little following in Southport, North Carolina from my Southport series. And I really do enjoy the small town books. And so I'm going to write another small town trilogy. So I have some things that in the plans, but I need to get to it, Joe. I need to get to it.
You'll get to it. I will. You'll get there. We'll poke and prod you along the way.
Yes. Thank you. That would be great.
All right. So, Stacy, this was great, and I really enjoyed the conversation, and you definitely lived up to the expectation that Angela had for you. A lot of fun tonight.
Tell Angela I said thanks.
I certainly will. So, before we wrap it up, who is someone that you respect right now, and what are they doing that inspires you?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I'm having a harder time with that question than the first question, just because it one person. That's.
Well, it doesn't have to be. I mean, you could expand on it if you want to.
I would. God, there's so many people, but I would have to say my siblings, my brother and my sister. I think that they are just, I don't know. I think they handle life so gracefully, and it's not perfect, and it's messy, and it's difficult, but they're just so graceful with it, and I admire that truly. And I would have to say them. So I don't know if they're watching, but Alan and Danielle, I love you guys. And I would have to say them. Oh,
that's great. I like that. That's good. I like the things like that. I like family references to that question. Yeah. That's great. That's great. Thank you for that. So where can people go to find out more about you and about your work and about your books and get all the great stuff?
Yeah. So my website is super easy. It's srfabrico, Fabrico.com, and they can find out everything about me there. You can follow me on social media at srfabrico_author, pretty much anywhere. I'm on most social medias, including YouTube. And I think that's probably it. You can find my books anywhere online that books are sold, in some bookstores, some libraries, depends on where you are, what part of the country. But if you go to Google and you type in SR Fabrico, you're going to find me.
All right. Outstanding. All right. Well, I'm going to put you backstage. I'm going to wrap this thing up, then I'll connect with you back there in just a couple of minutes. So just hang tight.
Awesome.
Stacy,
thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. And we'll see you in a couple of minutes. All right. Well, Stacy Fabrico, what a great conversation. I'm telling you, dudes, folks, I am really enjoying these interview segments. They are just fantastic. And she was a great guest, and I really do appreciate her taking her time out to be here with us tonight. So let's wrap this up so we shouldn't keep her waiting too long. Folks, it is, unfortunately, liberal Christmas season, and that means that your taxes have to be filed. So April 15th, that's your deadline. And if you haven't done it yet, I would like to direct you to Diamond Dynasty Tax Group Legacy, right here in Eagle Pass, Texas, 830-867-7106. It's 830-867-7106. These folks did my taxes for me when I purchased the Asylum, and we did the renovations and built the studio and all that great stuff. And they did a fantastic job. They took a whole binder full of invoices, receipts, all that great stuff, and they just went through it all and made sure that everything was accounted for and everything was taken care of. Smooth process, no problems, no headaches, no concerns. They really minimized the stress. They maximized the refund. It was a fantastic experience. And so when they asked me if I would do a read for them, I said, absolutely, we'll do that. So Diamond Dynasty Tax Group Legacy, right here in Eagle Pass, 830-867-7106. You don't have to be in Eagle Pass to use their services. They're all over Texas. So you can reach out to them. Again, 830-867-7106. It's 830-867-7106. Give them a call. Let them help you out. And you're going to be really, really happy with it. Guarantee it. All right. Shout outs to our executive producing team, Wayne Rankin, Rosanna Rankin, Carolina Jimenez, Marissa Lee, and of course, the inestimable anonymous Angela. Thank you guys for doing everything that you do for the show. I really do appreciate it. Folks, we follow the value for value system, or the value for value model. And all that simply means is that if you are receiving anything of value from the content that we're putting out, all we're asking is that you return that value to us in the form of a donation. And that donation could be your time, your talent, or your treasure, the 3 T's as we call it. Now, these folks that that we just listed off as our executive producers, they all donate their time, their talent, or their treasure. And we really do appreciate that. Without their help, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the stuff that we get done. So if you'd like to find out more about how you can help out the show, just visit our website, joerooz.com/support. That's joerooz.com/support. And you can find out all the different ways that you are able to help us out. All right. Folks, again, great conversation tonight with Stacy. This is one of those topics that a lot of people think about but don't really understand until they're in it. If you've ever thought about writing a book, hopefully this gave you a clearer picture of what it actually takes, not just to start, but to follow through and make it mean something. If you got value out of this, make sure you follow the show, share it out there, and please drop a comment and let us know what you think. All right, I think that should just about do it for us for tonight. So folks, please don't forget to head over to our website, joerooz.com, open up the contact form, send us a message, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to hear from you guys. Also, don't forget, like, subscribe, and share the show with your friends, your family, and followers. I really appreciate everybody being here with us tonight. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Stacy. And listen, folks, let's not ever forget this. Make Texas independent again. Go podcasting. Keep a steady stride. And more important, keep talking. We'll see you tomorrow night, folks. Have a great one.